Hey, it's Ed, and I want you to meet a friend of mine you probably already know, Erica Olenski. Erica, welcome to EdTalks.
Thank you, Ed. It is a pleasure being here.
One of my favorite people from DFW, and tell us about some of your tattoos.
Yes. All right. I've got two sleeves. I tell the story about these as my battle scars. Funny enough, my visual representation of my journey as a caregiver. So my left arm, which is there's an idea out there that energy in the world flows through the left side of your body and comes out the right side of your body. So I took that and this picture in particular is the healing experience that I've received from Mother Nature. And so this is Mother Nature, and she's just omnipresent, but also a goddess of sorts, and also is bald, funny enough.
Yeah, I get it.
And then this one is about my healing experience of the world as a mother. And so you can see there's a body sitting in a very peaceful position on symbol for what stands for the kind of creation energy, if you will. And through the experience of creation, there is enlightenment that's possible. And so that's there. And then there's little details here. So the body has these paint splatters on it, but I had the artist make sure that there was a paint splatter where my son's chi tube was, and then one where his trach was as well. So it's a little bit of just the storytelling around it. And the two medallions here in the middle represent 22 is my message from the universe that I'm right where I need to be at any given time. And I saw this everywhere, whether it was the hospital room we were in, or just, looking at the clock, of course, or any opportunity that the universe gives you with numbers attached to it. I kept seeing 22 everywhere, especially when my son was in the height of his treatment. And so that was my message, that I'm right where I need to be, even if it's hard. This is where you're supposed to be. And I had to just trust and surrender into that.
Yeah.
And then this is the symbol for Om, which is the sound of the universe. And it's what the universe makes. Its presence known as with sound. And it also looks like a 30. So my two boys are born on the 22nd and the 30th. And so they kind of represent both of them as well. But I drew both medallions while we were actually in the ICU with my son while he was receiving treatment about 5 years ago. And so they've been a patchwork of sorts of that journey, but also, like I said, represent kind of my battle scars, which at the time, my tattoos were the only representation of the physical experience that I had gone through as a caregiver with my son.
Yeah. No, we might jump into that. Yeah, we have a lot in common. So I've got a lot of tattoos as well, and then we're also both into extreme racing and multisport. Tell us a little bit about. But I think you're more accomplished than I am. Tell us a little bit about like what you've been doing in the past.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've been a competitive athlete my whole life in different ebbs and flows, as it is the experience with a lot of folks in this sport. I grew up a competitive swimmer and swam my first year into college or so and continued that through before realizing I was not going to the Olympics. And so I probably should focus on other areas with a bigger ROI. That said, endurance athletics have a fantastic ROI, which you know as well, when it translates just applying your energy in a really constructive way to a goal that you have in mind that's bigger than what you could imagine or accomplish if you just wake up one day. You really need to apply yourself towards it to be able to achieve it. And so since growing up as a competitive swimmer and then exploring running really over the past 15 years, and then within the last 5, getting competitive into the actual Ironman triathlon space, that's where I've landed. And I love it. As you know, it's just insatiable, the endurance experience you get working at that level. It's
Yeah.
really energizing.
Yeah, I love it, and that's really cool. So you've had the experience, as you described when you were talking about the journey with your tattoos, of a caregiver, and you're a patient also, and you're working healthcare and tech, and so you've got all these amazing experiences that you're leveraging to do good. Tell us a little bit about, you've written about some of these profound experiences you've had as a caregiver and as your son goes through his treatments and things like that. Tell us some things that you've learned and that maybe you wish more people were aware of.
Oh my gosh, the big question, right? Especially going into a week with, big conferences like Vive, where should we focus our energy and attention rather than just the hype? There's a couple areas that really stand out to me when it comes to prime and ripe opportunities for innovation in healthcare tech broadly, very much informed by that caregiver and patient experience. The first I would say is care coordination. We have not figured this out yet as an industry for whatever reason. I think part of it is that it's a human problem. It's a human issue, and it's bound to the human experience. We have to figure out a way that we can collaborate better across different work streams. If it's the physician, the caregiver, the DME, the pharmacy fulfillment company, the social work division, the education group, all of these players are so integral to the healing experience because healthcare is not limited to just what you are treated with. Your healthcare experience effectively is how your body heals itself.
Yeah.
And that includes a lot more than just the physical addressing of whatever the problems are. And as an industry, we've been so hyper-focused on just providing solutions that are tactical in nature without really just saying, look, the people that are involved here in every point of the spectrum are all human beings. And really the core of what we're dealing with as an industry is a human problem, whether it's collaborating with one another or if it's empathizing with one another. It's all back to this human experience. And that's true about the clinical delivery of care too. We have to recognize that the clinicians themselves are human beings. There's nobody that's exempt from this experience, unfortunately, at least till AI starts throwing in their friends everywhere and making digital twins. But until then, and even once that happens, for us to continue really innovating meaningfully, the biggest areas I believe are in the human experiences of the healthcare delivery spectrum that we've been all experiencing to varying degrees of frustration.
Yeah. Well, I really recommend people follow you primarily I find you on LinkedIn. Is there other places they can follow you? Because you have these great stories and they're very touching and they're real. And you bring out these really important points that a lot of us just know from theory because we haven't had to experience the dilemma of care coordination and what it adds so much trauma to a caregiver and a patient. It's crazy. And oftentimes I don't think we think about it. So where else can people find you, Erica, if they want to follow you?
Yeah. I've really dwindled down social media, funny enough, in the more recent years. LinkedIn is absolutely a good go-to place for me, definitely in a professional capacity if you want to follow along there. And we've got a fan in the background here. The other place, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I do a lot of public sharing on the story side of what we're doing with pictures. Mostly on my Instagram. You can find me at the Great GR8 Chalupa. I've also tried kicking that name several times in the past and reinventing and rebranding, but we inevitably come right back to the Great Chalupa. So you can find me on Instagram at the Great Chalupa, GR8 Chalupa.
And so today you're with Fin Partners. You've been there for a couple of years now. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so my day job is with Fin Partners. It's a global PR firm that does kind of full spectrum marketing, communications, crisis strategy, branding, website design, all of those things as a global agency. And then where I sit is really within the healthcare vertical of Fin Partners, which is actually our largest division as a business. And then within the healthcare umbrella, I'm on the healthcare innovation group. And so we operate mostly out of the Nashville office. I'm on the Atlanta team that rolls up under there, but we've got a kind of national footprint of folks on our team that work on supporting lots of clients, mostly in the healthcare and emerging tech space, which is very exciting, as you know.
No, that's super cool. So, Erica, thank you for being vulnerable and so transparent, not just with me, but that's why I suggested people follow you in these other places to get that firsthand account, what it's really like on the front lines. It's a tough place to be. And you're been very, like I said, vulnerable in sharing your story. And It's really appreciated. It's sort of humanized the dilemmas that we see. And I think you're just a beautiful person. And I'm so glad we've known each other for a long time. I was trying to think, like, I remember you coming to parties at my home,
Yeah.
like at
Yeah. That was
least
a
10
while
years
ago, like I think 15 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe
15
now.
years ago. I see every once in a while the videos or pictures show up, and it's like, wow, there's Erica. So,
Yeah.
anyways, and
I had long hair then though.
yeah, you're beautiful with or without hair. So you look the same to me.
Thank you.
So, uh, thanks for being my guest.
Thank you, Ed. It's lovely. I think just to reiterate, right, the human stories here that we all experience in healthcare are the place we need to be going to be inspired about what's next in innovation. If we can start there, so much else will fall in place that will click and make sense and truly have an impact. If we try to fabricate and make things up and come over from another direction without really meeting the patients and the caregivers and the clinicians and the real world experience of their healthcare journey, we're going to continue to miss the mark. And so that's the right place we need to be and focused. So I would also encourage everybody going into spring conference season, find the human experience in everything you do. And in those stories, we're going to be able to really find inspiration about what's next to come in healthcare.